think much about it until her doctor put her in the hospital for what was believed to be stomach problems.
I think it was a day or two later he came in and told me he finally looked at the x-ray that the TB unit sent him, and I had an extremely large heart.
Ever since that x-ray helped diagnose Jean's heart disease, she's had a valve surgically repaired, bypass surgery, and a defibrillator implanted in her chest.
But her diseases are all, what we're talking about, run-of-the-mill things, just she had all of them.
Is it working?
Jean's heart is now beyond repair. Every day, she patiently waits for a transplant.
I have a little thing right here that beeps every now and again. So it's been false, but it tends to get your attention. But no, I'm ready for it. I want to get on with life.
Ivy Robinson has a similar story, but it has an extra unexpected chapter. It also starts years ago. Ivy was working as a flight attendant when she noticed her health was deteriorating. What were the doctors telling you?
They told me that I had sinus problems.
What were your symptoms?
Well, I started wheezing. And I was wheezing so badly, I was waking myself up and I couldn't sleep, so I was sitting up, sleeping. Over
time, Ivy got weaker. Her wheezing worsened. Finally, a friend intervened and rushed her to the hospital.
They did an EKG, an echocardiogram, and then they started draining my lungs. I said, and then the cardiologist came and he says, do you know that you have a heart problem? You have cardiomyopathy. You need a new heart. And I'm like, what?
2 years ago, Ivy received a transplant. Today, she's still adjusting to a new life, a new identity with the heart of a 33-year-old donor.
I think in my recovery now, I'm going through the emotional part of my healing recovery.
Is it all worth it?
Yeah.
Ivy and Jean's stories are extraordinary, but they speak volumes about heart disease, the silent epidemic that needs to be heard loud and clear. What would your advice be to other women based on your experiences?
I think women need to be more aware when they're not feeling well that they need to go to the doctor.
Don't sit and just sit there. Just get up and find out what's wrong.
Go to your doctor, see what you can do to prevent it.
If you think your doctor's not giving your symptoms adequate attention, then see another doctor. See a cardiologist. Provide all the relevant information, like your risk factors, your family history. If your brother, father, or grandfather had a heart attack before age 55, or a female relative had one before age 65, you might be at risk. And the older you get, the more likely you are to develop heart disease. For women, menopause is a turning point. When estrogen levels drop, your risk dramatically rises. And what about hormone replacement therapy? A new study shows long-term use can reduce a woman's risk of heart disease after menopause by 62%. On the other hand, for women who had heart trouble and took hormones for less than a year, the supplements proved to be detrimental. In the meantime, there are risk factors that you can control right now, starting with some basic tests, and we'll take them later in this program.
And coming up next, answers to this pop quiz. A heart attack and sudden cardiac arrest are not the same. Do you know the difference? There's one local celebrity who does.
It's official. It's right there in black and white. I died that night.
Also, if you experience cardiac arrest, is your chance of survival better in a doctor's office, a campground, or a Las Vegas casino? Coverage you can count on.
I asked my doctor about Lipitor.
From Virginia Mason right now. Get your questions ready and go to king5.com and click on Web Chat. Survival are better if it occurs in a Las Vegas casino. According to a recent study, more casinos than doctors' offices have portable defibrillators on site at all times. Plus, a casino security cameras can quickly identify when a person needs emergency care.
Cardiac arrest is different from congestive heart failure or a heart attack. As we explained earlier, a heart attack is when the blood flow to the heart muscle is blocked, maybe by the junk we eat. Congestive heart failure is when the heart becomes too weak to pump blood to the rest of the body. This can lead to accumulation of fluid in your lungs and legs. Sudden cardiac arrest is caused by an abnormal heart rhythm. The electrical system goes haywire. Your heart suddenly stops. Rarely is there any warning. Without immediate treatment, the victim of cardiac arrest almost always dies. And that's what almost happened right here at King TV in Studio B. It was a routine taping of the local comedy show, Almost Live.
Thank you so much.
Episode number 1113 seemed funny enough.
You guys are so pathetic.
Until the end of the program, when suddenly it was no joke. Were you dead?
Yes, I was. I was dead.
Just minutes earlier, the studio was alive with laughter as actress Tracey Conway and host John Keister and the rest of the cast performed their routines.
They're the not very smart, but dedicated people of ERR.
Ironically, part of the program that night was a spoof of the TV medical drama ER.
They react first and ask questions later.
As the cast poked fun at life-threatening medical emergencies, little did they know they'd soon be dealing with one of their own. Do you remember what happened at the time that your heart went out? Do you remember anything about that?
I'm such a bad interview because it wiped it all out. But I've been told.
The show was over. The cameras had stopped rolling. And host John Keister was fielding questions from the audience.
Then I heard this this commotion behind me, and I looked back, and Tracey was sort of stiff and arched and falling backwards, and the cast caught her and laid her down. Her face flopped over to face mine, and her eyes were open, but they were blank. They were...
While someone called 911, John asked the studio audience for help. Within seconds, a truck driver who happened to be a firefighter in training leaped out of the crowd.
And he didn't even hesitate. He just began to give me CPR right there.
The electrical system in Tracey's heart had gone haywire. It was wiggling out of control like a nest of angry snakes. Tracey was rushed to the emergency room at Harborview, where she did regain consciousness. How long were you out?
On the form, it said that I was dispatched around 10:20. So I was down almost 20 minutes without a heartbeat, which is a miracle that I'm here.
You were dead and came back again.
Yes, yes. I count January 21st, 1995 as my second birthday. Come on.
Tracey's condition is known as ventricular fibrillation, or VFib, and it runs in her family. And she knows the importance of investigating your medical history.
What you need to do is when you're going to your regular doctor for a checkup, if you've ever felt any funny beats, be sure you talk about that and find out who in your family has died from heart disease at an early age.
Tracey's heart now has a regular rhythm. It's monitored every minute by a miniature defibrillator planted inside her chest.
It's about that big. There's a little, I don't know if you can see it, you can sort of see my incision here. It drops down, they open up a pocket, they slide it into your shoulder, and it listens to your heartbeat all the time. If there are beats that get dangerously slow or fast, it will shock. It will deliver the same kind of shock as an external defibrillator, but inside your body.
Gosh, so how are you now?
I'm doing great. I continue to walk with my dog and try and stay fit, but not be crazy. You know, I want to enjoy life. Life has been so much better since I died.
After that life and death experience here in the studio, the entire cast of Almost Live learned CPR. Which brings up the question, if you'd been in the audience that night, would you have known what to do? We're going to give you a crash course in CPR in just a minute because, surprisingly, even your teenager can become a victim of sudden cardiac arrest. It happened at a swim meet in Des Moines. A 16-year-old girl collapses and dies. It happened at a local high school basketball game. A 15-year-old player drops to the ground and never recovers. It happened at this Inglewood Junior High School. A 14-year-old athlete stumbles while running and falls unconscious. Sean, the son of Tammy and Chris Shipler, is one of the lucky victims of sudden cardiac arrest. He is still alive.
Squeeze my hand, Sean. You're in control of those muscles. Squeeze my hand.
In the first nationwide study to examine trends in sudden cardiac death among America's youth, researchers found the number has jumped in the past decade by 10%, 30% in young women.
I think that probably one of the biggest reasons is the number of teens that are active in sports and the number of teens that are doing a higher level of sports.
Sean Shipler was a football and wrestling star at his junior high school and had big plans for his upcoming tournaments.
Football and wrestling, that's all he did. So, scholarship for football he was going to get for Florida. So.
Yeah, he was very serious.
Yeah.
He was good. Very focused, very, very strong on the team.
Late last year, Sean was running laps with his gym class when he collapsed. As is the case with all sudden cardiac arrest victims, brain death starts to occur in just 4 to 6 minutes. Time was Sean's enemy. His gym teacher called 911 while the football coach gave him CPR. And that's the reason Sean is alive today.
Little kids, teenagers, they don't have heart problems. I mean, that was my thought, my feeling. I had no clue.
What is a cardiac arrest? Why would a kid have a cardiac arrest?
It's hard to know exactly, but the principal reason teenagers like Sean have cardiac arrest is due to undiagnosed underlying heart disease. In hindsight, Sean may have been experiencing some early warning signs.
I think he may have felt some stuff, and instead of saying anything, out of fear of being pulled out of the height of his season in football, could have been part of why this thing ran so far to actually be a cardiac arrest.
So some of the warning signs would be things like fainting, complaint of rapid heartbeat, unexplained events that occur during exercise. It's a little hard to define, but we talk about unexplained shortness of breath with exercise or even chest pain with exercise.
Because I'll tell you honestly, detection and prevention is a lot less expensive and a lot less heartache than where we're at. I mean, you don't want to be where we're at.
Sean, I'm going to tickle you.
The Shiplers are constantly caring for Sean, and each day they are slowly seeing signs of the son they used to know.
Yesterday, he did a full smile, the whole face. I mean, in the eyes, the eyebrows, the ears, the cheeks, both sides going up together, and just a
giggle.
A giggle smile.
You're funny. Where's that big laugh?
The Shiplers think if one of these devices had been on hand, their son would not have experienced brain damage. It's called an AED, or Automated External Defibrillator. Airplanes have them, along with some golf courses, even casinos. The Shiplers are campaigning to have AEDs available in all public schools. This device automatically analyzes your heart rhythm and then gives you an electric shock if you need it. The Heart Association is encouraging widespread use of these AEDs along with CPR. We asked Paul Berlin of the Gig Harbor Fire Department to demonstrate the use of both and how to save a life.
I don't think she's waking up to this, so I'm going to open her airway.
Paul says always call 911 first, then begin CPR. That can double a victim's chance of surviving sudden cardiac arrest. Just give 2 breaths, followed by 15 chest compressions.
And just keep going. Well, fortunately, our defibrillator has just arrived. The biggest trick on these things is turn it on.
Connect electrodes. Stand clear. Push to shock.
Everyone's clear, and I deliver the shock.
Stand clear. Analyzing now.
Now it's checking the rhythm again, and then the defibrillator will tell me that it's time to think about shocking again. And that's it.
So Paul's demonstrated the basics of CPR for adults, but it's recommended that you take a full course. They're offered all over Western Washington by the American Heart Association.
Coming up, it's easier than you think to prevent heart disease. It begins with a few simple tests.
Here she is lying down on the job.
That's next, along with the answer to this question. What is the single most preventable risk factor for heart disease in this country?
It's an interview you won't see anywhere else.
Any minute now, they should be out here to talk to me.
Jim Dever meets up with the Backstreet Boys to reminisce about old times. It was 1933, and the U.S. was in the grip of the Depression. And finally, help arrived.
The single most preventable risk factor for heart disease in this country is smoking.
Don't smoke.
Doctors unanimously say,
No smoking. No smoking. No smoking.
don't even start.
Don't smoke. Don't even think about it.
And if you do smoke, stop now.
As a cardiologist, seeing 45-year-old people come in with heart attacks, and the only reason it's happened is they've smoked for 20 years. I just wish that there were a way that we could convince people that cigarettes are dangerous.
If you were to quit smoking right now, by tomorrow you would have cut your risk of heart disease. And at the end of a year, you would cut your risk in half. Other factors that are under your control include blood pressure and cholesterol. But first you have to know what's good or bad, what's high or low. It's the first line of defense against heart disease, arming yourself with knowledge about your own body.
Go ahead and have a seat right here, Jean. I'll be doing a couple different things this morning.
At Providence Medical Center in Everett, during a 30-minute healthy heart exam, they'll calculate your risk of having a heart attack or stroke in the next 10 years.
All ready? Great. So I'll start with your blood pressure. Are you nervous or excited or anything like that today? Did you have coffee this morning?
No.
No.
These are standard tests you can get at your doctor's office, and they'll tell a valuable story, beginning with blood pressure. There are two calculations, two numbers you need to know. The top or larger number is the pressure in your arteries when the heart pumps blood out. The bottom or smaller number is the pressure that occurs while the heart is refilling and resting between beats.
160/90.
Whoa.
If your reading is high, 140/90, it means your heart is straining, working too hard. And there's another major concern. High blood pressure is the most important risk factor for stroke.
We know that with stroke, the lower the blood pressure, the less likely.
The only way to find out if you have high blood pressure is to check it, because there are no early warning signs, no clear causes.
118/68, blood pressure of a teenager.
Another critical measurement is your cholesterol.
Take a nice big deep breath, and that's the worst of it.
For women, this blood test has been called the mammogram of the heart.
So I'm going to put this into a little cassette right here, and in about 5 minutes we'll get your cholesterol results.
Every 5 years, starting at age 20, you should have your cholesterol analyzed. That's the stuff that can plug your arteries and cause all sorts of problems like heart attacks.
So we found out now that the buildup in the coronary arteries of all this plaque is in the young age, probably from age 20 on to 35. That's the rapid buildup.
A total cholesterol level less than 200 is desirable, but there are several numbers you should know and monitor. First, LDL. This is the bad cholesterol. It sticks to your blood vessels and encourages plaque to accumulate. You don't want a lot of it in your system, so low levels of LDL are preferred. The HDL is the good cholesterol. It helps transport excess cholesterol out of your body. That's why we want high levels of HDL.
Great. And just looking straight ahead for me. Try and make myself very tall.
Now, how's your weight in relation to your height?
He is 5'6" and 3/4.
Your body mass index is another telling calculation. And you can give it a quick estimate right now just by looking at your waistline.
People that have weight around the middle and don't focus the camera down there now tend to have a higher incidence of heart disease. And that's why they've used the waist measurement as a risk factor.
Our battery of tests ends with an EKG, or electrocardiogram.
Here she is lying down on the job.
Electrodes attached to your chest help draw a graph of your heart's electrical energy.
Nice low resting heart rate.
The results of this test are more reliable for men than for women. Often a woman's breast tissue can get in the way and alter results. But when all these risk factors are combined, they can give you an eye-opening look into your future.
Now, you don't have a premature family history, so that puts you at a lower risk. No personal history, no tobacco use. Your blood pressure is fine, it fits within the guidelines.
Total cholesterol is right about where we like it. Your numbers are fine. Your LDL less than 130, your HDL is greater than 50. And it looks like you exercise regularly. So when we add all this up, your overall risk of having a heart attack or stroke in the next 10 years is less than 10%.
If you're disappointed with your test results, you can change them without cheating. Coming up later in the show, we're going to show you how you can dramatically change your cholesterol, blood pressure, and weight.
And coming up next, a Washington woman is wide awake while she looks inside her heart to see if there's a problem.
Okay, one more deep breath and hold it.
And we'll have the answer to this question. How old was Vice President Dick Cheney when he had his first heart attack?
Last year, he underwent an angioplasty. That's a procedure often done along with an angiogram. Without surgery, doctors can travel through your heart and detect coronary artery disease.
Well, the little peach one is the Valium, and the pink and white one?
Relaxed but wide awake, Paula Goulette will soon see for herself if there's trouble brewing inside her heart.
It's a medication I'm going to use to...
Recently, while walking her dog, she started experiencing a tightness in her chest.
I've always been fine. Never had any other problems, other symptoms. It's quite a shock, really.
Paula went to a cardiologist for an EKG and echocardiogram. The results suggest she could have a blocked artery.
Her only risk factor for coronary disease was mild elevation of cholesterol. So we were concerned that she might have premature coronary disease, and that's why we proceeded with testing.
Today at Virginia Mason Medical Center, Dr. John Holmes will perform the next test, an angiogram.
You doing okay? Good.
He begins by carefully threading a catheter through an artery from the top of Paula's leg up into her heart.
And through that tube, you can inject some liquid that can be visualized on an X-ray system.
Well, Ms. Goulette, we're going to start taking some pictures now. Take a deep breath and hold it.
Suddenly, a section of Paula's heart is lit up, revealing to a camera whether or not her arteries are clogged.
And that's all there is to one picture. Okay, take another deep breath, hold it. So we are all done. You have normal-looking arteries.
Several pictures are taken and then replayed for Paula.
That's this one. This is the one from the stress test that we were concerned about from the echocardiogram. And that also looks nice and smooth.
Instantly, she gets to see the results and breathe a big sigh of relief.
But it's good news to know that none of the arteries are blocked. It is good news.
We've excluded the most worrisome, life-threatening illness, and we'll wait and see.
All right, take care. Enjoy.
We talked to Paula the other day, and she says she's feeling just fine. She said the procedure was quite comfortable. If Dr. Holmes had found a blockage in Paula's artery, he probably would have fixed it right on the spot.
Yes, certainly you could proceed with a coronary angioplasty, the balloon treatment and probably stenting at the same time.
Dr. Holmes is talking about a common non-surgical procedure that uses a catheter with a balloon on the end. When it reaches a place that's plugged, the balloon is inflated, the plaque is pressed into the artery wall, and the blood flows freely again.
You'll feel better in a second.
In recent years, doctors improved this process by inserting stents, tiny mesh tubes that help keep the arteries from closing again. For many patients, angioplasty replaces the need for open heart surgery.
In contrast, if you have multiple blockages at branch points with a lot of calcium in the arteries, long distance of blockages, those don't do very well with balloon treatment.
Instead, the solution may be bypass surgery. This is when blood vessels from other parts of the body are used to build detours around obstructions in the heart. After modern medicine fixes your physical problem, there are emotional issues too. Fortunately, help is as close as your hospital bed.
Hi, I'm Mary. Nice to meet you.
When you're recovering in the hospital,
I had irregular heartbeats.
you just might get a visit
I called 911.
from Mary Malaysia.
The one thing about my situation that I hope people won't do is say, well, I think it'll be better by Monday.
Mary reaches out to new heart patients, offering the advice and comfort she once needed herself when she thought she had indigestion.
And when they did the EKG, that's when they found out that I was having a heart attack.
But you were having a heart attack right then?
Well, I have been having it evidently
Since Saturday.
Since Saturday.
Thank you.
Mary's experience is common. She waited days to get help. Then after surgery, she had feelings she didn't know what to do about.
Sometimes after you go home and everybody goes away, you sit there and you get afraid.
Okay, folks, I think we're going to begin.
So Mary joined Mended Hearts, a national network of support groups for heart patients and their families.
Just bang, all of a sudden you're in ER, and you don't even know the name of a cardiologist.
She heard from people who had it much worse than she did.
And the monitor was up over my head, and I could hear it beeping away, and all of a sudden it just went, ee. And I'm on the table going, I suppose that's really not too good. And that's me.
She learned her feelings were not unusual.
You know, you think, hey, this could happen again. And I think that every one of us have gone through that.
You bet.
Sometimes I feel like, why me, Lord? And sometimes I think, thank God I'm a survivor, but what else do I have to survive?
You just have to get out and start living again. You can't let it get you down.
Well, none of us here in this meeting are ready to die. We do everything we can to stay alive.
Now Mary is doing more. Every week she does outreach, giving new heart patients what Mended Hearts has given her.
Talking about it helps you get back on your feet, get it out of your system, and get going. As we've said throughout the program, you don't have to end up in a hospital bed or on an operating table. With small changes in lifestyle, you can greatly reduce your risk. And we'll show you how next. For example, should you take an aspirin a day, or would a bottle of beer be better?
And we'll have the answer to this question. What state has the lowest number of deaths from cardiovascular disease? Disease is Hawaii. Washington is number 11 on the list. And at the bottom is Mississippi.
You can avoid becoming one of those sad statistics by adding a little life to your lifestyle. For example, if I sat around like this all day, every day, it would be the equivalent of smoking a whole pack of cigarettes. That's how harmful inactivity is to your health. Research shows that being a couch potato can actually double your risk of heart disease. So the real answer is, just get moving. An active lifestyle, very active, keeps these individuals young at heart. Through exercise, they've found a fountain of youth.
Well, the young people, you know, they all pat me on the back, and now and then a pretty young girl comes whizzing by and taps me on the shoulder, telling me she loves my red suspenders, you know, so there's some fringe benefits.
Several times a week, 67-year-old Hank Kersey gracefully glides around Green Lake.
I come to Green Lake either 3 or 4 times a week, and when I'm here, I skate either 3 or 4 times around.
Whether he knows it or not, it is just what the doctor ordered.
Well, I guarantee if exercise were a medication, it would be the most commonly prescribed medication around. It can do so much.
The experts say it doesn't take much to keep your heart healthy.
God, this breeze feels just awesome.
You don't even have to get sweaty. Just move those muscles you normally sit on.
I don't think people realize the impact exercise has on heart disease. It's multifaceted. It works on virtually every level.
30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. That's all it takes to keep you on your feet and feeling fit.
I just miss this when I don't come.
Almost every day of the week, walkers like Judy Zarling and her friend Joe take a few laps around their local mall. They arrive as early as 6 a.m. This rain or shine fitness program is the result of a partnership between Lakewood Mall and the Franciscan Health System.
We have fun because it seems like everybody stops for coffee afterwards. You get to know everybody, you wave to them.
It's a lot of fun for me. Stay alive. I think walking is probably one of the best exercises most of us can do as Americans. I think what's a little alarming is we're becoming so inactive as a culture. I think Generation X is now quickly becoming Generation XL.
Any activity other than sitting is a step in the right direction. In the long run, it will add years to your life.
When I'm 90, I'm going to be out here rollerblading, probably one of the things you push, you know. Get out of the way, I'm coming through here.
Always consult your doctor before you begin an exercise program. And as you start to burn more calories, think about the fuel you're feeding your body. If you stop at your favorite drive-in and you order a big burger and a big plate of fries and a great big milkshake, how much fat do you think you're eating? Take a look at this. A whole stick of butter. That's how much fat you're eating. To keep your heart healthy, the Heart Association says you don't have to give up all your favorite foods, just modify your diet a bit. You can still go to the drive-in, just eat in more often. And the next time you negotiate the aisles of your favorite grocery store, follow a simple strategy. Shop the perimeter.
And if you think about it, you could live off the outside of your grocery store.
Whenever possible, stay away from the center of the store. Traditionally, that's where shelves are stocked with junk food, full of fat and cholesterol.
Once you get to the inside of the grocery store, then you have to really hone in on your label reading skills.
Cindy Snyder's a dietitian who knows how to make your next trip to the store a healthy one.
Well, think color. If something has a bright, vibrant color, it's going to be packed full of vitamins and minerals.
The American Heart Association recommends you eat 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, along with plenty of grains.
Eating 6 to 11 servings of your breads.
No, this doesn't mean you can down a dozen donuts.
If whole grain flour is the first ingredient, then it's going to be the highest in fiber.
For a main dish, select a piece of fish over a slab of beef. The reason is obvious once Cindy shows you the vials of fat.
The fat in fish is a polyunsaturated fat, and this is the amount of fat in 10 ounces of sole, versus saturated fat, which is solid, and this is the amount of fat in 10 ounces of a T-bone steak.
To make sure you don't purchase products loaded with artery-clogging fat, just remember, polyunsaturated is preferred.
Polyunsaturated fat comes from plant source. Saturated fat comes from animal sources like steak.
In the dairy section, go for no-fat or low-fat products. And be aware that the shape of the margarine you buy makes a difference.
The tub is usually softer, and so it's going to be a better choice than the stick margarine.
Today, many margarines are made with ingredients that can actually reduce your cholesterol. Now, if you do venture into the center of the store where the junk food is found, start reading labels carefully and pay attention to how much fat is included in each serving.
For example, 1 ounce or 29 Cheetos has about 10 grams of fat, and you can have the same number of fat with 170 pretzels.
Or bypass the cookies, crackers, and chips and snack on a piece of fruit. This gets you back to the produce section, where there's always an abundance of heart-healthy foods. Eating right and exercising can lower 3 big risks for heart problems: blood pressure, cholesterol, and excess body weight. But what if you need a little extra help? Should you take an aspirin a day? And what about cholesterol-lowering drugs? Tonight we talk to some of the experts. How about a little glass of wine? Is that okay for your heart?
Did you want to try the straw?
The current recommendations are that if you enjoy some alcohol, that in moderation, it is reasonable to continue.
If you can stop at 1 a day, 1 ounce a day, that would be 1 glass of wine or 1 beer. That's probably benefits your heart.
And what alcohol appears to do primarily is to raise your HDL, which is the healthy cholesterol. Beyond that, there really is no benefit. And beyond that, you run into the excess calories of alcohol and can increase your weight, increase your tendency to have high blood pressure, increase your tendency for diabetes.
All doctors agree there are better ways to prevent heart disease. Maybe with an aspirin a day.
Yes, taking an aspirin a day reduces your risk of heart attack.
Recent studies suggest small doses can help stop blood clots from forming in your arteries.
Aspirin helps prevent that, and aspirin will decrease the risk of a heart attack, the risk of dying of a heart attack, 20% if you simply take an aspirin with your first symptoms.
In women, it's less clear, and there are ongoing studies to look at the effects of aspirin in women.
Should everybody take an aspirin? No, there's a risk to taking aspirin.
It does thin your blood, and if you put hundreds of people on aspirin for 10 years, you're going to have a handful of people with serious bleeding problems.
Before taking an aspirin regularly, check with your doctor. Also, ask about these new drugs. They're statins, and they're getting rave reviews from the medical profession.
The statins are a group of drugs called the HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors. And what they do is they change the way your body metabolizes cholesterol and fat in the liver.
Earlier this year, the National Institute of Health proposed tripling the number of Americans who should take these cholesterol-lowering drugs.
When given to certain populations of people, they can actually decrease the risk of having a stroke or a heart attack by as much as 40%.
And so you need to take this pill or pills every day for 2 or 3 or 4 years to reduce your risk.
They turn out to be very safe drugs.
Well, the drawbacks are that the expense of the medication.
I describe that to patients and say it's going to be $1 a day or $2 a day or $3 a day or more.
They are expensive. That is the one hitch.
Dr. Stewart says if you combine statins with a healthy lifestyle, you can actually reduce your risk of heart disease by 70%. Now that's impressive. And what if you've already had a heart attack? Can you reverse the effects? Well, apparently the answer is yes. It's a battle.
160/90.
Whoa. But Ardell Hansen is determined to win his fight against heart disease.
All right, thank you.
He's already had one clogged artery fixed. Then doctors found more damage.
So they said there was nothing they could do.
Instead, Ardell is doing something himself. And so far, it's working.
That's a good idea, thank you.
I took a stress test about a month ago, and I went from a high risk to a low risk.
Ardell's enrolled in the Dean Ornish program at Swedish Medical Center.
All right, let's march it out.
It's named after a California cardiologist who discovered that heart disease can be reversed with rigid lifestyle changes.
Well, the program is a comprehensive change, and anytime you make a comprehensive change, I suppose you could label it as rigid.
Every participant in the program must commit to several hours of exercise each week, along with daily yoga sessions.
We're lifting and turning.
Plus, there are support groups to attend.
And that also involves both talking and listening. So that's the hardest part for me.
And there's another lifestyle change Ardell and his wife found hard to digest at first.
What do you got there?
That's the Dean Ornish diet.
It's not a diet.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
You know, a diet generally gives the impression you're going to give up something, and then for a while until you get your weight stabilized, and then you go back and you go right back to where you were before. This is a lifestyle change, and you're going to have to stay on it the rest of your life.
So there is a fairly strict diet in the sense that you need to become a vegetarian.
Ardell and the rest of the group have learned to tolerate meals made without meat, and they regularly enjoy a cholesterol-free dinner together.
Vegetables, spaghetti with marinara sauce, and some sort of soup.
That's all part of the strict routine that's treating the causes of heart disease.
And most of all, we've seen people really take back control over their life and really embrace their life again, rather than feel that they're a victim of a disease that they can't control.
I feel a lot better. I have more energy. I've lost about 25 pounds.
Add some legs, so bring your heel.
As Ardell enjoys a healthier life, he does have one regret.
Thank you.
And that's not making these changes a long time ago.
Yeah, I think the lesson I learned is preventative is better than fixing it. And if I would have started this program to be on preventive a long time ago, I'm sure I'd be a lot happier today.
We've seen what can benefit your heart right now, but what about the future? What about new discoveries? How would you feel about growing your own new heart? We'll have that story next.
Also, we'll have the answer to this question. What Seattle doctor made medical history in 1982 and why? Clark. On a December night in an operating room in Salt Lake City, Utah, Dr. Clark became the first person to receive an artificial heart.
He's progressing better than any of us could have hoped.
112 days later, Clark, a grandfather and avid golfer, died.
Since then, no one's been able to design a human heart that can replace the real one. But there have been advancements. Just recently, a dying patient in Kentucky received the first totally implantable permanent artificial heart. Unlike the bulky device that temporarily kept Barney Clark alive, the new AbioCor weighs just 2 pounds and it's powered by a battery pack. Doctors say the artificial heart will extend a person's life by just a month. Still, it's considered to be a breakthrough, along with another promising treatment that's being researched right here in our own backyard. When your heart gives out, imagine just growing yourself a new one. UW researcher Dr. Buddy Ratner says that will happen someday.
You know, when the fuel pump on your car goes, you don't throw out the car, you replace the fuel pump. When our fuel pump goes, what do? We throw out the person. There are no replacements.
A special replacement is coming, thanks to Ratner and a team of researchers from the UW and the Hope Heart Institute. Their goal is a heart made not with plastic or rubber, but with a person's own cells.
A person who had a failing heart would perhaps give us a sample of tissue. We would put it in some very unique culture and bioreactor conditions and grow a heart, which then the surgeon would reinsert.
No need to wait for a donor heart. No reason for the body to reject a foreign organ. But it won't be easy. Unlike this bladder created in the lab, a heart is more difficult to grow. Once grown, the cells must be untangled from the mess on the left into the neat bundles on the right, which we know as muscle. Researchers must also supply the new heart with blood, synchronize the heartbeat, and finally fuse it into the body. A heart Band-Aid, it's been called.
There are many challenges, and we have clearly called this program audacious.
Audacious? Yes. Possible? Yes. Experts say it is now only a matter of time. Dr. Ratner was reluctant to say when his beating heart would be ready. 5 years, maybe 10. But in the meantime, there's a lot we can do to keep our hearts healthy. And the first thing is to recognize the risk. It's not just men, it's women and children too. And controlling the risk is in our hands, exercising and cutting the fat. And if we have a concern about our heart, to see a doctor and make sure that concern gets attention. Now, if you'd like to take a simple heart risk test, you can go to our website at king5.com. And there's a lot of other information on the website about tonight's special heart program. So we invite you to take 5 for your heart. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Jean Enersen. Good night.
The preceding King 5 HealthLink special, Take 5 for Your Heart, was brought to you by Virginia Mason Medical Center. We practice team medicine. #1 in Western Washington with coverage